This is an open letter to Mr. Elon Musk. Bravo, Mr. Elon Musk. Mrs. Marjorie Taylor Greene. Bravo, Mrs. Greene. With regards to H1-B visa, I think Mrs. Greene's heart is in the right place, Mr. Elon Musk. And in fact, I don't think Mrs. Greene knows just how right she is, because she analyzed one side of the issue, but the other side of the issue also points to her answer. The issue is H1-B visa, that Mrs. Greene believes that no, we should train our own workforce, educate our own people, and get the shit done with what we have. We don't need to import all the brains from all the world, around the world, to make the best team. I think she's right, Mr. Elon Musk. And bravo, Mrs. Greene. Because imagine, it's 5,000 years ago. And imagine that you're an advisor to an emperor, and you say, yes, let's take all the medicine men and shaman and informed people from all around the empire and gather them in this great place in the center. That would be great. And, gather them at the heart of the empire, and we could do great things. Sure you can. But the problem is, what happens to those people who these people are from them? You take the shaman away from the village. The only motherfucker who at least pretended that he or she knows what's going on, the only hope of the village is gone. You take their shaman from all around the empire in order to do something great at the center of the empire. What happens? What happens to those villages that these shaman and these medicine men and these fuckers, thinkers, what happens to those villages when these people leave? Not only they lack the brain, because brain is rare. A brainiac person is a rare, The dog that learns how to sing and dance is a one in trillions of dogs who have come and gone. You see what I'm saying? So let's gather all the brains from all over the empire at the center so we can do something great. Here's the thing, Mr. Elon Musk. The only way you can have security is if you have stability. And the only way you have stability is when there is some kind of equilibrium. Maybe you don't want to call it equality, some kind of where there is no canyons of knowledge and wealth and information. When you remove the canyons of wealth is when you can get stability, some kind of stability. And we all look for stability because with stability comes security, and with security everybody's happy. But in order to reach that, as you can see with the societies around you, especially in the Western Hemisphere, it's a very lopsided system in which very few have got so much of this, whatever this added productivity is. Let's not even give it a number. It's a currency. Currency is what, accumulated added productivity. This accumulated added productivity is in the so few hands that even there is either Harvard or local gas station. It's sort of if you have the money, you go to Harvard, and if you don't have the money, usually you have to attend the local gas station, rob it or clean it, or is that guy the what started this Black Lives Matter movement was the fact that the guy who didn't have money was trying to do some kind of a whatever activity that he felt brings him in the most dough, so he can, because the system has said fuck you. There is no doubt about that. The system is not educating these people. When you don't educate the children of your tribe, basically you're giving the middle finger to the children of your tribe. You're saying we don't care. So my point is this. This is where Mrs. Greene is right. You have to care for the children of your own tribe. That means you have to educate them to the best standards of the time that it is. And yes, you're going to have a lag. You cut off the supply. Now you have to train, sow your own farm, and it takes at least a generation, maybe less, to get a good farm out of it. You can go to Japan, take note of how the fuck these people are teaching their children. Take notes from the Japanese. They have the best, system possible. Chinese, Japanese, you have to go copy them. Hey, what the fuck are you doing that works for you? We have to do the same. You want to call it communism, you want to call it socialism, you want to call it whatever the fuck ism you want to put on it. You have to copy a system that works. Your system is clearly not working. Millions of people are dying because your system is clearly not working. You see, when the empire works, when the powers on earth are in kind of stability, people don't die. Why is there instability? Because lack of security. Why is this lack of security? Because you're fighting over resources. Resources that you can trade for, you want to own. You can trade for it, but you rather own it. So millions of people are dying. My point is this, and we're going to have World War III, because they don't want to trade, because the fat cats on top of most societies have got very rich, and those fat cats don't think they should give any of the money up for educating the children of the tribe. They don't think they should give up any kind of money to taking care of the health care of the tribe. I'm sorry, not just picking on you, Mr. Elon Musk. I'm picking on all these folks, the top 100, 90 of richest people on earth. 90% of them live in white countries. Now, Europeans somewhat have taken care of their health care and education of their children. Although I'm not sure these fucking bureaucrats who are bringing about World War III in Europe are educated. I think they're very well educated, but they're bureaucrats. Anyway, they don't understand. They're bureaucrats. They follow orders from the rich people who want these wars to happen because they don't want to share. They rather eliminate the peasants than have to pay for their health care. Let me repeat again. The very wealthy have reached the conclusion that we have collected all this wealth, these numbers, this added productivity. Now we rather have the peasants shot in some kind of war than have to pay for the education and healthcare of this peasant's children. These children, so many children that Mr. Elon Musk wants, well, these children, need education. And that education, according to the inflation and the lopsided incomes that are coming in, that we have people with 6-7 digit income figure per month, and we have people with 2-digit income figure per month. Maybe 3-figure, maybe 4-figure, but low 4-figure, low. You know what I mean? Sort of like you either have to live in a studio or you can live in a mansion. It's two choices you have in the society. So my point is that this is basically how capitalism becomes irrelevant. You have made capitalism irrelevant because at one point the pyramid becomes very much, narrow, becomes a real pyramid of wealth. My point is this. Yes, Mrs. Greene is right. You have to stop spending money in conquering new lands, and spend some money educating your peasants, and not go to war to try to eliminate the peasants because you don't want to pay for their health care and welfare. or education, and you rather, and you wonder why the population is going backwards, the birth rate is low, because health, education, food, welfare, all of that is in question, because the numbers that they get in terms of income doesn't match their expenses in the cities. You have, disfigured the some kind of equality. No, sorry, that's communism. Some kind of relevance between income brackets. If there was some, you would see more security. That black guy in the gas station, he's not supposed to, he doesn't think of finding genius way of making a little more money because he can't afford his studio. Or he's being advertised that you should have at least 50 gold chains, so he can't afford those. He has 49 gold chains. You see what I'm saying? When you teach people to be greedy, this is the result of being greedy. When you teach people that value is money, this is the result of value is money. And nothing but money. So people are attracted to make their 49 gold chains to 50, or pay the rent at the studio at the end of the month. And they get into all kinds of trouble in gas stations, and the cops then come, and once in a while the motherfucker gets killed. But my point is this: the situation is created because of income inequality. Wait, I'm not saying income equality, but fucking close the fucking gap. And yes, Mrs. Greene is right that this money that we are spending in expanding overseas, since there's trouble at the center of the tent, we should stop spending that money over there and start spending it over here in whatever we have to spend it in to make here better. And one of them is education, educating your people, so you don't have to take educated people, smart people from all over the planet. We want all over there. You take their shaman from their village. Now, at least the guy who knew that he has to wrap the cut in order to prevent bleeding to that guy is gone. The next guy in line doesn't know about wrapping the wound in order to prevent bleeding. He thinks if he puts dirt on the wound, that's better. That's his thing, because he's not a shaman. He used to clean the shaman's hut. Now the guy who cleans the shaman's hut becomes the shaman of the village, because the fucking folks in the middle, at the center of the empire, invited, incentivized H1-B visa the shaman to the center of the empire in order to use his skills. Good for you. But that fucking cleaner of the shaman's hut is now the shaman, and he thinks you don't wrap the wound in a clean cloth with nice medicinal leaves in order to encourage clothing and encourage healing. He doesn't know that. He thinks the best thing is put some dirt on it and hold the dirt there until you stop bleeding. Yeah, sometimes you live, sometimes you die. Salute. The shaman had a survival rate of 70%. Now the shaman's cleaner has a survival rate of 20%. The gods are unhappy. So this is it. You take away their shamans. You take away the few people who have learned how to do shit in those shitholes that also, belong to the empire or are under control of the empire or playing nice with the empire. And those who are not playing nice with the empire, you get 100% of their brainiacs. You see, I mean, here's the thing, Mr. Elon Musk. Those brainiacs, you have to really incentivize them to come to you, because if he's a shaman of his village, it's like he's the big fish in his village. Or he has the potential to be the big fish in his pond. When you invite these little shamans to the center of the empire, you may get something better, put together something good at the center of the empire, maybe not. But even the shamans are disappointed because they were a big fish in their little pond, and now they're a small fish in a big ocean at the center of the empire, the big ocean of brains. It's not, and their replacement doesn't know, can't find his ass with both hands. So it's bad for the natives over there. It's bad for the shaman's life, because now he's average between all these brainiacs. And it's not even, and it's not good for the people of the citizens of the empire, because it's their education still remains up in the air. Whoever has money can get education. Whoever doesn't need education, because we don't believe in educating the children of our tribe. Salute. If we don't feel we are responsible for the education, to educate the children of our tribe. Mr. Elon Musk, that's the highest level of irresponsibility possible. If you don't feel that you should reap what you sow, not what your neighbor sows. You reap what you sow. This idea of H1-B visa is like, no, I want to reap what my neighbor has sown, and steal the best seed from that land and take the insight. I'm sorry, did I say steal? I meant insight. Insight and invite the best seeds from all over the land, so we can make something great in the center. You can do that, but it doesn't bring more stability, more division in wealth, in brain, in cognitive function. More division doesn't bring more stability. When you gather all the brains over here and don't leave no brains over there. And the reality is, if you can create some kind of embargo of different countries, or go to war on their land with different countries, you kind of make conditions less favorable, so their brainiacs move to your land right away, because the conditions in their own land has been made unbearable, because you say we have to have the big dick on the block, and although we are from a block on the other side of the planet, but still we should have the big dick in Indian Ocean and South China Sea. You make living condition unfavorable in many of these lands that don't want to, take orders from the white guys. Any of these people who don't want to take orders from the white guys are bad people. Only those of you who are willing to take orders from Washington and London and Paris, only those of you are the good guys. Those who, and we don't even go by international rules base, we go by rules base. It's sort of like the first time I heard this rules based order, I thought there was a word here. It's missing. They have totally taken it out. The first time I think I heard it from Mr. Pompeo. I don't know who started it, but this rules-based order, it's got a word missing. This is, when you say rules-based order in Canada, that makes sense. Rules-based order in Canada. Okay? That makes sense. But rules-based order, you need another word to just to make the sentence work. So it's, in that case, would be international rules-based. But when the international community says, maybe you want to stop making the treating the brown skins like you treated the redskins, when the whole planet Earth, international community stands up and says, please stop treating the brown skins the way you treated the redskins, suddenly you give them the middle finger and you say, no, we like to treat the brown people like we treat the red people. And we don't give a fuck about what you have to say, the rest of the planet. This is bad running of an empire. You know, once upon a time, people wanted to be different tribes, wanted to be part of your empire, and you didn't have to threaten them. But if you don't treat people right, and then people want to leave the empire, and then you say, fuck you, it's my empire, and I have the right to give the middle finger to all of you motherfuckers. That's when the empire has gone off the rails. I'm sorry. If you have to show your middle finger to so many times a day to so many people, that's when the empire has gone off the rails. This is not how you run an empire. Unless you're planning on, ending the empire. Salute. Salute to the empire. But my point is this, if you want to end the empire, yeah, this is the way to go. Continue abusing and the members of the empire, taking their brains out because you make their living over there worse than living at the center of the empire. However center of empire is living, is worse over there, wherever it is. When you do that, you concentrate these brains at the center at the expense of the peripheries. So Mrs. Greene is right. Yes, you have to educate your own shaman. And no, you should leave the shaman. If you want to invite those shamans from those faraway places to teach in your universities, that's a different story. You're taking a sample of their shaman, not all the shamans from every village. You take a sample, not to put them to work, as in like work as one, but for educating. Hey, you shaman from that village over there, come and educate 1 year in our top universities, all of our universities. Tell our people about how you treat wounds over there. In that kind of invitation. Not H1, not you come here, work for us, like the black skins. We forced the black skins to work for us. We brought them here from Africa because we didn't want to work. Now you don't want to educate. So let's bring all the educated one from across the world. You didn't want to work, so you imported the black skins. You don't want to educate, so you're importing the educated. Salute, Mr. Elon Musk. Are you kidding me? I mean, isn't it logically, you think about it, center of the empire should be exporting educated, not importing educated. The center of the empire should be, because center of the empire, is that where the money is, where the wealth is? If the money and wealth is not going towards education, what other necessary needs are there? If the money doesn't go towards education, there's no other more important need than education. There is no more important need than education in a society. it comes right after food. Food, education, or better yet, food, healthcare, education, food, housing, healthcare, education goes right up the ladder. You haven't provided a good education, haven't provided a good housing, hasn't provided a good healthcare, and you want the birth rate to go up? Why? Based on what income? How much of the added productivity of the society has come to a postman? How much of the added productivity of the society that he lives in has gone to the postman? Don't imagine yourself today. Imagine 10,000 years ago you're sitting in a circle with your tribesmen, and it's all 15 of you who are still alive and reproducing. There's 15 of you, and imagine there is like couple, 2 of them or 3 of them who have added all the added productivity. So they have their stash of a full carcass of a cow at the corner of the cave, and nobody should touch it. And then, but half the tribesmen are really, their stomachs are making noise. Imagine sitting around the fire, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock at night, as a caveman with 15 of your brethren and sisterin, and you are, a few members, most members are hungry and their stomach is making noises, but there are like 2 or 3 people in this tribe that have got, have learned how to actually, keep the meat longer, and they have their meat under their bunk in the cave. Don't you see that there is a recipe for revolution? You can't keep your tribesmen hungry for long. In the middle of the night, all 3 of them, I have a feeling one of these nights in the middle of the night, all 3 of them are going to lose their life together. And then the rest of the 12 members of the tribe are going to share the loot. And that would be the carcasses or the meats or whatever edibles that these 3 used to keep under their bed. Because, they know more about asset allocation than the other 12 members. They know more about asset allocation, they knew more about investment, and they knew more about productivity, and they could, foresee the future trends, and so they were able to, somehow come by some kind of extra productivity of the tribe. They didn't hunt those animals by themselves. The rest of the tribe helped them so they can hunt the fucking animals. But through some kind of trickery and financing and, timing the market correctly, these 3 happen to, have most of the have investment, have extra rations under their bed, and because it's theirs and they know economy and they know what's trending and what's not, therefore they have a lot more food than they can consume while their tribesmen are hungry, uneducated, unhealthy, uneducated, hungry, and unhoused. And I guess, they have to sleep on the outside of the cave as well, because these 3 have, took out financing on the cave. These 3 have taken out financing, and through some kind of trickery and paperwork and favorable rules and regulations, these 3 have been able to buy up the cave. Now, and these other cavemen don't, these other 12 members of the tribe don't, now they can't sleep in the cave because they don't have the rent to pay, and they have some kind of a rent, they pay some kind of a rent extra ration for the guys who own the cave now. They pay some of their extra rations as their rent to their landlord, which is one of those three who owns the cave. You see what I'm saying? What I'm trying to explain is that nothing justifies you not educating your own people and expecting to attract and wanting to attract the educated of other tribes. Don't the other tribes get a say in this? Do they want to lose their educated? No problem. We bomb them, then their educated will jump out of the burning ship immediately. I'm sorry, not only it's unfair, not only it's illogical, it's inhumane going about and trying to entice every shaman from every village to come to you. Facilitate by laws and entice by perks. The imbalance itself will cause a lot of upheaval, revolutions and coups d'etats and people who don't know how to run those countries. The result is never good. Again, instability comes from insecurity, and insecurity comes from the gap in life, quality of life. The gap in the vast gap in quality of life, or what is perceived as quality of life, causes insecurity. Insecurity, instability, a lot more blood spills to keep the empire, which eventually is going to break up anyway, because the policies are shit. I'm sorry whoever these policies are, but if your policies results in more instability and more bloodshed, even if it goes in your favor, what is your favor? What is your favor today is not in your favor tomorrow. The jihadis in Afghanistan was in your favor in the 80s, and they became your nemesis in the 2000s. Is there anything wrong with this picture? Who cannot see that the whole picture is wrong? You take out their brains, you entice and invite their brains, you entice and invite their wealth, and you say why those places remain shitholes. And if you entice and they still don't come, then you bomb them. You make sure all the brains and the wealth moves out. That's one of those winnings that it only looks good on paper, and accountant's paper. It's like these kind of winnings that we won and we bomb them into submission, or we bomb them into disintegration, or these are those calculations that only bean counters don't get, that it's wrong. It's like the Boeing. Imagine that story just came out that they recently removed an accountant from Boeing and put an engineer in charge, because it clearly states that when winning to you as a bean counter is that we gotta have a winning team, and you don't see the cost of all those head injuries that comes out of football. You don't see that. You pretend that it doesn't exist. Fuck, these people are not they're not woodchucks. If you hit so many times at somebody's brain with a lot of force, because it's not a woodchuck, there is flesh and blood in there, of course his brain is going to be knocked out of order. Any surprises? There is no surprise there. But if winning is whatever this winning is, you define it as having more wealth. If winning is your definition of winning is, yeah, I'm gonna win, then I'm going to go have my head examined as the case is with football. Yeah, I'm gonna win, then I'm gonna worry about examining my head. This is that kind of winning. We're going to win by bombing their smart people out of their countries and enticing them or inviting them or scaring them or bombing them. Their wealth comes out and their brains come out to our land, and therefore we have won. That's that kind of winning. Okay, now you won. Let's go have your head examined. It's just, you got to think of the big picture. If you want stability of the empire, you have to have a big picture in mind. And the big picture is more stability means a longer lasting empire. And more stability comes from less expectations. And less expectations comes from less greed. If you're a little more modest, a little less greedy, and yes, a lot of things, Mr. Elon Musk, a lot of things are not going to be achieved within your lifetime. A lot of things are not. Seriously, I believe a lot of things are not going to be achieved within your lifetime because the humanity keeps going. So this, rush of achievement, if it means that, okay, it takes too long for us to educate our own workforce, no, we're going to go with option B and in H1-B visa. So, that's a rush to greatness, rush to achieving before my demise. Yes, but you see the toll it has taken for these people weren't trying to achieve much, and still they, the rest of the world got screwed multiple times. Multiple races have come under attack from the yahoos, the cowboys, especially from Western Hemisphere, from the British, from the French, from the Spanish. You see what I'm saying? Is it better quality of life wise? I have a feeling the quality of life of a redskin in North America was much higher when they were the majority in North America. You see what I'm saying? Again, back to who's winning, who's losing, and how many are losing in order for one to win. If you fail at educating your own people, wherever you are, and worse yet, you don't educate your own people, worse yet, you want to take educated people from all those villages from the four corners of the empire. What the fuck they're supposed to do? You create a resentment both over there and at home. Both the peasants there and the peasants at home are both pissed off of you. Instead of educating their children, you keep on importing the cream of the crop from the rest of the planet. The shamans from all those villages. All peasants everywhere are going to be pissed off. I think the peasants in America deserve to have their children to have top of the line education free of charge, because these people are the children of the tribe. Your tribe, wherever you're living. If you're in Tanzania or if you're in New Jersey. If you don't have money for that, what the fuck are you spending the money on? Okay, you don't have the money for that as a tribe. You don't have the money to educate your children as a tribe. You don't have the money to house your people in proper caves as a tribe. You don't have the money to take health care seriously for all members of your tribe in your cave. So your tribe is sleeping outside the cave and they can't see the shaman. They have difficulty feeding themselves, and you're telling them that, yeah, we have to go to war in order to find shelter for you. In order to find housing, healthcare, and education for you, we have to go to war because we can't afford your healthcare and education. I'm sorry, you can afford the war, but you can't afford the education. Here's to my tribe. Seriously, whatever you're doing, Mr. Trump or Mr. Elon Musk, whatever you're doing, things going on in your head, the best thing to do is imagine a similar policy in the time of the caveman. You see, whatever comes to your mind, Mr. Trump, if I may, jokingly, suggest that whatever ideas people come up with, just try to reimagine of that idea in being implemented during the caveman, and within a cave with 50, let's say 50 people in a cave. There's a tribe of people living in a series of caves in the mountainside, and whatever policy somebody comes up with, tell yourself that, okay, what would that chief of the cave, 50 member cave people, what this policy would mean in that scale. And if it becomes a joke, if you start smiling that this is a stupid idea, you start smiling at the silliness of the idea, then you don't implement it. It becomes self-explanatory. Don't think of it as, okay, this solution, how it affects today. No. Take it back. Say, this idea, how would it translate at the time of cave people? Because we are not doing anything beside what they were doing, the cave people. It's all about, food and shelter and healthcare and education of the children of the tribe, and maybe, taking better care or good care of the environment we're living in, because we depend on it for food and water. Think the way a tribe of cave people had to think. Take your problems to that scale and see if you smile at the silliness of the idea. If it's silly, please don't implement the idea. If I may. Salute. Again, if you like to invite shaman from other tribes, Mr. Elon Musk, fine. But not every shaman from every tribe within the planet Earth. But a sample, and not to have to work for you, but to teach their special way of looking at life and a special way of perspective in the world. Teach your people as if not that your people would have to adopt their perspective in the world. No, just to know that there is another perspective of life in the world. In those terms, from medicine perspective, with regards to everything, with regards to medicine, with regards to healthcare, with regards to welfare, with regards to etiquette, with regards to music, inviting they're educated just to teach for short periods or long periods, or however you decide. That's all you need. You need a sample for that from every country, from every culture. And you need to send your people, your students there at government's dime to learn in those cultures and then return. If you want to learn about their cultures, you have to send your own. Not invite so many of them that they bring their culture to your land. No, no, no. You send your people over there to learn their culture and then come bring it to your land. And familiarize everybody with that culture. And those that you take a sample. You don't take the whole fucking, you don't invite H1-B visa anybody with half a brain. No, I'm sorry. Anybody with a full brain is welcome, because apparently our people don't have a full brain. I'm sorry. It's ridiculous. You think of it as a cave people, in terms of a cave, a tribe of cave people, and imagine that they say, yeah, we have our own shaman, we have to go invite and entice the shaman from the next tribe, and then this tribe, and then that tribe, and that tribe, and that tribe. What are you planning? You're planning all these tribes to go extinct because you took away their shaman. Now they're pouring dirt into their wounds to heal. This is the objective. I mean, you think of it logically. We're talking about, let's assume Star Trek level of intelligence anybody has. You think the center of empire should be where the empire sends out educated people. It's the center of the empire. You have all the money. Instead of you start fighting those shitholes, you educate people, your own people, and send them to those shitholes to make it not shithole. If you want to be so kind. You see, Mr. Musk, exactly the opposite has to happen. Unless you know there is a date that we are going to be hit with an asteroid, so you're trying to, you don't really care about all the peasants because you already know the peasants are gone. If that's the case, then I retract and say, yeah, go for it. Let's invest all of humanity in going to Mars, because apparently this shit is going to end. I don't have that knowledge. If you have that knowledge, then you're right. Since I don't have that knowledge, and besides, this policy, before you come in, this policy H1-B visa, and trying to make a shithole out of every place in this planet except our own. This policy has been going on for 75 years. From all, the skirmishes in Southeast Asia and West Asia and Africa and Central America and South America, all those skirmishes that mounted to not much. Eventually, the societies took their evolutionary path with or without United States. And in fact, United States is the only one who has neutered the evolutionary path that the Koreans had to take. Folks, you're not geniuses, neither am I, but every society takes an evolutionary path. Every society may want to sample communism for a while, may want to sample socialism for a while, because of how life is. Because you folks don't have a center. Your societies keep on becoming imbalanced, especially in the West. That's why the British had to so often go to war and get rid of their peasants, kill off their peasants, and turn them into fertilizer all over Europe and all over the world, because they didn't want to educate their peasants. Now the idea is, Mr. Elon Musk, you really want to copy the British? The British lost their empire very soon. As empires go, if you run it badly, which the British did, which the Dutch did, Europeans are too greedy. And very soon they run into trouble because of the greed. To run an empire, you cannot be very greedy. And if the idea is I'm going to import all the educated people that want to come to me, I'm going to invite them, and I don't care what happens to their homelands when all these educated people leave, to work, not to teach, as a sample of the educated, but no, we take all their educated. I've seen so many Nigerian nurses in North America. I'm thinking, isn't Nigeria short? Does Nigeria have all the nurses that they want, that they need? No, they just keep educating their people to becoming nurses, and then the job market in North America and Europe sucks. Mostly North America. Europeans are more or less educating their own people up to this point, before Mrs. Nolan went and started a fire in Ukraine. Up to that point, and expansion of NATO is basically creating more friction. You have, by expanding NATO, you have broken an equilibrium. Apparently, white men of Western European origins are not very concerned with equilibrium. Well, that's why your empires are so short-lived. You run a system with a very, very big gaps, not in an equilibrium, but very canyons of gap in wealth and information and knowledge. Yeah, you're going to end up with Rome, and then you have to and shedholes. You have Rome's and shedholes at the same time, to such an extent that within your own land you have Rome and you have shedholes. You have Boondock, Oklahoma, and you have Washington, D.C. or anywhere else that they consider themselves, a great city. Well, a lot of doctors who should have been, living and working in Boondock, Oklahoma, they're not living and working in Boondock, Oklahoma, because they can make a lot more money in city X, Y, and Z. Large city with, lots of prostitutes around. You see where I'm going with this? When you break the equilibrium, Boondock, Oklahoma starts screaming. Kabul, Afghanistan is also starts screaming, because you're trying to break the equilibrium. No. It's our oil wells under their land. That land, we don't care who grew up on it, who was born on it. No. But the oil is ours. That means you're looking to end the empire, because you're asking too much. You expect too much. You expect their money, you expect their resources, and you expect their brains from all over the empire, all over planet Earth. You're pushing against equilibrium. Yes, Mr. Musk, Mrs. Greene is right. You gotta have some kind of equilibrium, and to create that means as a center of the empire, with all this extra wealth that, being the reserve currency of the world, had created for you up to now, you could have used this money to educate more of your own people and then export them, send them overseas. Your own educate, your excess educated. That's what a sane empire would do, would be in the business of. No, we educate so much that we have excess of educated people as the center of the empire. So we send our educated people to every corner of the empire to bring knowledge and increase the quality of life. No such thing is happening. We're going the opposite way. We want their resources for free. We want their educated for free. We want their wealth for free at the center of the empire. All the money coming towards the center of the empire is a good thing. If the money is living away from the center of the empire, that's a bad thing. How long do you expect to keep this empire like this? how long you expect to go away from equilibrium and still keep the system going? Salute.